4 books that killed my certainty and made me wiser for it. There is a kind of blindness that only affects intelligent people. It is not ignorance. Ignorant people at least know they don't know. No, this blindness affects the ones who have read the most, studied the hardest, argued the longest. It is the blindness of certainty. And I spent years inside it. I read books the wrong way for a long time. I read to confirm. I underlined the sentences that agreed with me and quietly skipped the ones that didn't. I finished books feeling smarter and stayed exactly the same. Then I found 4 books that didn't let me do that. They were not comfortable. They did not congratulate me. They looked me in the eye and said, "You're not thinking, you're defending." Real knowledge is not what fills you, it is what unsettles you. Today, I want to share those 4 books with you, not as a list, but as a journey, because each one breaks a different illusion, and together they build something rarer than intelligence, wisdom. Before I share the books, I want to give you a single question. One question that separates the books that change you from the ones that merely inform you. Does this book challenge a belief I hold with confidence? Not a belief I'm uncertain about. Anyone can question what they don't know. The real test is questioning what you're sure of. If you finish a book and you feel validated, you have wasted your time. You went in search of a mirror. What we need is a window. These 4 books are windows. Some of them are uncomfortable to look through. Good discomfort is the sound of your thinking expanding. Book number 1, Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Taleb. Imagine you're watching a stage. On that stage, thousands of people play a game of chance. No skill, no wisdom, just a coin flip. Half lose, half survive. They play again and again. After 10 rounds, one person is still standing. The crowd applauds. Journalists write about them. They give speeches. They sell courses. Everyone wants their secret. But there is no secret. There is only arithmetic. Taleb calls this being fooled by randomness. We are wired to see patterns. We are wired to see cause and effect. So when we see success, we invent a story. This person deserved it. They were smarter. They worked harder. They had vision. Sometimes that is true, but often what we are looking at is the last survivor of a statistical process. And we cannot tell the difference. Not from the outside, sometimes not even from the inside. The cemetery of the failed is invisible. We only ever see the winners and we build our philosophies around them. What does this mean for how we live? It means we must be humble about our victories. Not dismissive humble, it means we must ask what would have happened if the conditions had been slightly different. Would I still be standing? And more importantly, it means we should focus less on predicting outcomes and more on building resilience. The goal is not to win the coin flip. The goal is to survive enough flips that skill eventually distinguishes you from luck. This book does not make you pessimistic, it makes you precise. Book number 2. Think Again by Adam Grant. There is a paradox at the heart of learning. The more you know about something, the harder it becomes to see it clearly. Researchers studied tax professionals, people who had spent decades mastering complex financial codes. When the rules changed slightly, the experts made 3 times more errors than students who had just started learning. The students had no habits to unlearn. The experts were prisoners of their own mastery. Adam Grant calls this the trap of the preacher, the prosecutor, and the politician. The preacher defends their belief as if it were sacred. The prosecutor attacks every idea that threatens theirs. The politician says whatever the audience wants to hear. All 3 share one disease. They have stopped thinking and started performing certainty. Kodak invented the digital camera. They had the technology, the engineers, the resources, and they buried it because it threatened what they already knew how to sell. Kodak's no more. The antidote Grant offers is deceptively simple. Think like a scientist. Scientists do not defend their hypotheses, they test them. They update when the data speaks. They are not attached to being right. They are attached to getting closer to the truth. Here is a practice that changed how I prepare for important decisions. Before I commit to any major direction, I write this sentence. I currently believe this, but I could be wrong. If and I finish it, honestly, it turns a fortress into a question. And questions are always more powerful than answers. Book number 3, Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. We live in a culture that judges decisions by their outcomes. If it worked out, it was a good decision. If it failed, it was a mistake. This seems logical. It is one of the deepest thinking errors we make. Annie Duke spent 20 years as a professional poker player, and what she learned at the table applies everywhere. Good decisions can lead to bad outcomes, and bad decisions can lead to good ones. Randomness does not care about your reasoning. A surgeon who takes every precaution still loses patients sometimes. A reckless driver still arrives home safely most nights. If we judge only by results, we learn nothing. We punish good thinking and reward bad thinking randomly and call it wisdom. The goal is not to be right. The goal is to be less wrong. Iteration by iteration, decision by decision. Duke teaches something she calls the decision journal. Before any significant choice, write 3 things: how confident you are, what evidence would change your mind, and 3 reasons why you might be wrong. Then track it. Over months, patterns emerge. You begin to see where your confidence outruns your evidence. You begin to calibrate. This is not about eliminating risk. All of life is a bet. The question is whether you're placing your bets consciously with clear eyes about the odds, or just reacting and then constructing a story afterward to justify what happened. Most of us live in the second mode without knowing it. Book number 4, The Intelligence Trap by David Robson. This is the most dangerous book on this list, not because of what it reveals about the world, but because of what it reveals about you if you are intelligent. David Robson spent years studying a strange phenomenon. The smarter a person is, the more elaborate their rationalizations become. Ordinary people hit a wall and doubt themselves. Intelligent people hit a wall and build an argument for why the wall is wrong. High intelligence does not protect you from error. It makes your errors more eloquent, more defended, more invisible to you. The expert's cup is always full. There is no room left for truth that doesn't match what's already inside in Zen Buddhism. There is a concept called Shoshin, the beginner's mind, the master who still approaches each day as if they know nothing, the philosopher who still asks, what if I'm mistaken about this? I remember the first time I truly understood this, not from a book, but from watching children. They encounter the ordinary world with complete astonishment, a tunnel under a river, a flame, a shadow. Everything is worthy of wonder. At some point, we decided that wonder is childish, that certainty is mature, that the one who asks the most questions knows the least. We had it exactly backwards. Robson's prescription is simple and humbling. Surround yourself with people who will genuinely argue against your most important beliefs, not to be polite, not to play devil's advocate, but to try as hard as they can to show you where you are wrong. If no one in your life will do that, that is the most important problem you have. 4 books, 4 different illusions they dissolve. Taleb tells you your success has more luck in it than you think. Grant tells you your expertise has more blindness in it than you think. Duke tells you your past decisions were better or worse than their outcomes suggest. And Robson tells you your intelligence is not your shield. It may be your greatest vulnerability. None of these books are comfortable. I did not want any of them to be right. But that discomfort was the point. Growth does not happen in the places where we feel confirmed. It happens in the exact moment we discover we were wrong about something we were certain of. The wisest thing a mind can do is make more room for what it doesn't yet know. The ancient philosophers called this aporia, the productive state of non-knowing that precedes real understanding. Socrates built an entire philosophy around it. He claimed to know nothing, and in that emptiness, he found more than most people find in a lifetime of accumulation. So here's my invitation to you. Take one belief, one thing you're certain about, and spend a week genuinely trying to disprove it, not to abandon it, just to test it. See if it can survive contact with its strongest objection. If it survives, good, you now hold it more wisely. If it doesn't survive, better, you have just made room for something truer. That is the real upgrade, not more information in the cup, but the courage to sometimes empty it. If this touched something in you, share it with one person who thinks differently from you. That is the most philosophical thing you can do today. Until next time.